Oh, off the top right here. Rumble predictions. Oh my god, I fucked up. Not Rumble predictions. Jesus Christ. Rumble review. This is a big one. We're talking about the Rumble last night. All great things that happened. Welcome. Off the top. Yeah, buddy. Woohoo! That was a fuck up.
What's going on, guys?
What's up, everybody?
What's going on, guys? So tonight
no,
we have
Ryan,
a couple different
Ryan.
people with us. We have Prince, who everybody just heard, screaming into your mics. It's great. We have myself, Scals. We got Shadow, and then we're joined by.
We got some Shadow.
We got some Shadow. Yep. And then we are joined by our other co-host on the most with the career retrospectives. That it would be Nate, and then we're joined with two special guests tonight. We have Phil the Future and Jamie Rose X. How's everybody doing?
Thank you, guys.
Well, I didn't go over the top rope.
Oh, we live in the dream.
Definitely.
I'm just saying I'm undefeated in the Rumble.
Amazing.
All right? I haven't got over the top rope yet. I haven't been eliminated. Still my year.
Yeah, soon. Soon it's
Shadow Mania, huh?
Hey, Kurt
going Shadow Mania.
in the Rumble. He didn't get
It's gonna be
eliminated.
Prince Mania. It's gonna be Prince Mania. That's it. Because everybody loves the Prince.
That'll be a short-lived event.
Ha!
Other than what you got. Because right when you go in, you're going over. Trust me, I promise you that.
Yeah, we're with the crowd. Hey, yo.
No, not with the crowd over the ropes.
What's going on, Free Talk? Thanks for the follow before.
Yeah.
So, let's
FGW.
dive right in, why don't we?
Let's do it.
What is, we'll start, we're going to go in order tonight. And let's start with Jamie and then go Phil. And then we'll round it out here.
Before
What's
we
your
start
thoughts
that,
on the men's Rumble?
Before we start that, I just want to make a little shout out to the chat. Nightmare_wrestling just said that it would be shorter than Chelsea Green's time in the Rumble. So I think she was referring to
5 seconds.
I think he
Less
was
than
referring
5
to
seconds.
Prince over there.
That was the most phenomenal Rumble debut. We just gotta say it out there. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. And we'll get there. It's been a while. But, Jamie, what's your thoughts on the men's Rumble this year?
I'll say the men's Rumble, wasn't very glitzy, wasn't very glamorous, but it got the job done that it was supposed to do. It got Cody over. It told the story that, he's going to go in there, he's going to win it, and he's going to go on to Mania. What I did like about it, though, was Gunther. And he broke out last night, and so good. And also, it's going to set up a lot of stuff going into Mania season. Obviously, we're probably going to talk about it later. You got the whole, Dominic Mysterio going into a feud with Ray. And then, you got just a whole lot of stuff setting up. Edge and the Judgment Day. It's all packed.
Seemed to be a lot of storytelling within that Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Phil, what's your thoughts, buddy?
My thoughts with the men's Royal Rumble. Well, so I thought when we started off with entrance 1 and 2, I felt like we were gonna get something big. Cause come on, number 1, you've got Gunther, and number 2, you got Sheamus. We know we saw these guys put a banger match together at Clash of the Castle. They had a pretty good trios, good old Donnybrook match at Extreme Rules. So either way, knowing that those two were starting it off, big. I felt like if you're gonna start off with Gunther and Sheamus, which was like one of the best feuds that came out of 2022, this is supposed to be something big. As we started going through a couple people, I will say, yeah. it kind of got a little bit, it got kind of lackluster, but there were bright spots every now and then. I was very intrigued why. I wasn't really sure why Ray didn't show up. I actually found out he actually got injured during his match with Cross, which is why he didn't come out. But the way that they made it look like something different as Dominic came out with his mask and tore it up, again, that's just setting up another great. That's just going to be setting up something really great with the father and son down the road. You have like every other member of the Judgment Day coming in afterwards. Booker T comes in. Booker T. Not okay. It was cool. Look, there's nothing wrong with Booker. He was on the pre-show. I'm okay with that. I don't think he should have been in the Rumble, to be honest. I'm sorry.
If I can cut you off for a second, that wasn't my shucky ducky quack quack moment of the night. You know what I mean? It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. No shucky ducky quack quack. No one wanted it. No, sorry.
I'll
But
dig that.
Edge coming back was a smart thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Get every single freaking person from Judgment Day out of the ring, except Dominic, who eliminated him. But the fact that they had him make them haul ass backstage to safety. Of course, Rhea provides the stoppage, but we finally got Beth Phoenix back. Finally, for unfinished business.
I was surprised I didn't see her in the Rumble match later on, but
I was too. I was kind of shocked. And then, of course, the ending, 29th, Logan Paul, for me, I was shocked. I was not expecting Logan Paul. I kind of was not expecting Logan Paul. I know a lot of people were kind of expecting it. But I think Logan Paul has earned our respect for him wrestling-wise. Especially that collision with Ricochet, that almost tore the roof off the place.
absolutely.
And yeah, Cody Rhodes, of course, number 30, coming in, winning and of course winning. But still though, Gunther, we find out later on, Gunther absolutely squashed Rey Mysterio's record for how long someone has been in the Rumble. Like he was in there for like an hour and 11 minutes, which is absolutely insane. He was the Iron Man of that match. And I will say that those last few moments between Gunther and Cody Rhodes, I swear to God, I thought Gunther was going to pull the upset of the decade. But nah, we got ourselves the happy ending with Cody.
Triple H did a good job, and I don't know, maybe you guys all agree, but Triple H did a hell of a job suspending belief that Cody was ultimately going to be the winner, even though we all figured he was. But in that 5-10 minute span of Cody and Gunther going back and forth, it really just suspended the belief that Cody was going over.
Yeah, for real.
So I'll go in next if you guys don't mind.
Sure.
For me, the Men's Royal Rumble was very but that's okay.
Yeah.
To me, that says, and I know my counterpart Scales here is not going to agree because we had this argument last night. I don't mind the very little surprises in the Men's Rumble. It shows that they have faith in the men's roster to not have. I understand the purpose of the Rumble has always been in the nostalgic reason of, oh, who's coming, who's not, right? But for me, I was okay with it. We didn't need 1,000,001 surprises or even 4 or 5. Like, I was okay with it. I mean, we probably could have substituted Booker T out. I would have been okay with that. I really didn't care for him in there. And then just the stories they were telling throughout. I mean, like you guys alluded to already, the Judgment Day storyline coming into play. Dominic coming out with Ray's mask on, even though we all found out later in the night, or most of people knew already, Ray got hurt Friday. So they needed to come up with something. The biggest thing I think so far that's being forgotten is this was not a 30-man Rumble. This was a 29-man Rumble. So I feel like maybe this is going to play in somewhere. Hoping maybe they'll just ignore it. I don't know. Another thing that has yet to be mentioned, shockingly, that whole spot between Ricochet and Logan. Holy
No,
fuck.
No,
I
Phil mentioned
mean,
it.
I think I might have mentioned it, but yeah, again, that moment, that was just one moment for us where we could just stand back and go, holy shit, that just happened.
Right, and it was crazy, right? Like the hang time on both of them, and the whole setup to it. Like, you want to go? Yeah, I want to go. Let's do this. And then boom, it looked like something straight out of Dragon Ball Z at that point. Like air suspension.
100%.
But wait, we just jump into the men's Royal Rumble. But how can we ignore the fact that Pat McAfee started off that night?
Yes! That was a gift from God. That we got Pat
I mean,
McAfee right before anything happened.
That whole back and forth between Corey and Michael Cole was just great. I thought it was amazing. But for me, I'm glad Cody won. I mean, but like I said, I just said it too. The disbelief that Triple H suspended, or excuse me, the belief that Triple H suspended that Cody was going over. I mean, it makes me want to watch Gunther and Cody go again, like at an actual match, because I feel like it'll be a great show. So, with that being said, I'm going to throw it over to Nate.
So, a couple things I was going to throw out first also is I thought it was really classy and not even respectful, but classy, and it shows how much they actually value Pat McAfee, that they not only let him get an entrance, they let him get an entrance as the first thing we see in the broadcast live. So, like, they televised his entrance just because they knew we would love it. Michael Cole genuinely freaked out. I don't think he actually knew that he was going to be there. Because he's like if I watched it back today, and he's just like looking around like, whose fucking music is this? And then he like saw Pat McAfee. He's like, oh my god! But anyways,
Yeah, he was like, I FaceTimed him earlier at the hotel, and like the fact that he's still keeping this weird little friction between him and Corey. It's like, Michael, what's up? Hey, Corey.
I want to see that match at Mania.
Facts!
okay. Anyways, moving on to the Rumble. I thought it was a great idea having Gunther and Sheamus start. I thought it was going to be Seth and Cody, but having Gunther and Sheamus start was a great idea because everyone immediately thought, hey, these two put on the best fucking match of the year last year. This is going to be a great start to the match. Now, there's a theme that's going to be through this entire pay-per-view, and that is that this is probably the most story-driven Royal Rumble pay-per-view probably ever. Like, think
And
about
I have nothing but respect.
all the feuds that were set up in the Rumble or continued in the Rumble. Edge and the Judgment Day gets continued. You get Logan Paul and Seth Rollins is what it appears to be. A future clash between Gunther and Brock Lesnar, which we'll probably get at SummerSlam. Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar gets continued. I mean, there was so many feuds that just got continued or were started or like teased, and it's that kind of unpredictability that we were missing before Triple H took over, and we genuinely have that now. I do think Cody Rhodes was the right choice to go over, as I mentioned, a few nights ago. Sometimes the most sometimes the most predictable outcome is the best outcome. Like, think Daniel Bryan winning the belts at WrestleMania 30. That was pretty predictable once they put him in the match, and it made for a great story still. So predictability is not always a bad thing, and Triple H is good at suspending that to the point where we don't know for sure until it actually happens. As Shadow was saying too, I thought the match itself, yes, could have been better from a ring standpoint. Also, Gunther went an hour and 12 fucking minutes and barely broke a sweat. And he was wrestling the entire time. He maybe took 2 breaks. Like, that man's cardio is insane. But
Yeah.
from a storyline standpoint, it was one of the best booked Royal Rumble matches ever. But it was kind of clunky at times as far as how it was executed. But I thought it was a great match.
I agree.
So who else hasn't gone yet? Prince, did you go?
Not yet.
Continue.
All right, Prince, you can go.
So this was great just because of the outcome. Everything going into this was pretty good. With Gunther lasting that long, I was like, is he gonna be the one to go over and win everything? You know, especially when it was just him and Cody. But with getting Cody, that win was fantastic. This will fix. This will be the start of fixing everything. Hopefully, that the Rhodes family has gone through. Cody being the first one in his family to bring this title home. This right here will be perfect. It really will be, and it was needed. It was necessary. Yes, I understand that it would be even better in the long haul if he waited until next year. But this still doesn't really bother me that much that he won it. I was going for him that whole time, and I'm happy for him. That was one of the best things of that night for me personally. One of them.
Okay. So, since I'm the final one, I'm going to voice my displeasure for this Rumble. I think Triple H should have called an audible, and once he realized how the crowd was behind Gunther, Gunther should have won it. Because if you were bringing back Cody as number 30, he should never have been announced. If he was not going to be announced, if he was never announced, 30 is fine. But once you announce him, he needs to be in the 20s, early 20s, because he needs to go more than 15 minutes in this match. Now,
Fair enough.
how do you only have 3 surprise entrants, and 2 of them being people we knew about?
Yeah.
How do you not... Like, you went from Friday night to Saturday, adding 9 people to the Rumble without it being announced anywhere. Would they do it on social media? Like, no, people are staying off of social media to avoid spoilers and dirt sheets for the day of. You don't do that. All you did was just downplay the entire match. I almost did not want to watch that match at all. Like, I was ready to just turn it off and come back after that match was over. I was so disgusted. How do you not have any NXT superstars in this match? Where was Carmelo Hayes? Where was Braun Breaker? Where was Grayson Waller? Where was any of them? This was your chance to get people's eyes on NXT for the pay-per-view you have the following Saturday.
Yeah, for Vengeance Day.
You have a big pay-per-view where you're trying to put over people. You're trying to build Grayson Waller. You're trying to build Wesley versus Dijak. Like, they could have put these people in the Rumble to get eyes on that. And in that regard, they failed.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a lot of
did they really fail?
They did. Because no one's talking about NXT.
Good. No one needs to.
To be fair, they didn't have any NXT superstars.
Yes, they do.
last
Like,
year.
NXT is the future of the main roster.
You need to build them up.
It's where the future is being made.
They didn't have a single NXT superstar last year either.
Yes,
the only
did.
surprise. Nope.
Yes, they did.
Who'd they have last year?
They did.
I'm looking at the list right now. There's no NXT superstars
From last year either?
in 2022. The only surprise entrant last year was Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah, and how many people bitched about that then too?
And Bad Bunny was in it, but he was announced prior.
And the whole reason why they're not doing these surprises is because they're like, oh, it's already paid for. We don't need to we don't need to get buys from it. That's not a good business perspective.
Or that could be the reason, or it could be the fact that social media, as it's been alluded to throughout the TikTok universe lately, is social media is ruining surprises. So Triple H is like, fuck you guys, you're not getting anything.
Right.
There was people in the women's that you didn't know were showing up.
Right,
okay. Well, yeah, but the women's Rumble had a lot going on with it too. Like, we'll get to that, but the men's Rumble was definitely supposed to be more story driven. It was built around Cody Rhodes from the beginning, and throwing NXT guys in there just didn't really. I mean, I don't really see the point.
Why do you have Dawkins? What is he doing as a singles person? Nothing.
He's not really doing much.
Nothing.
Putting
Why do you
tag
have
teams in
Otis?
there-
Why do you have Otis?
Ford Otis, yeah.
Why do you have
exactly.
Gable? Why? I understand Ford because you want to build him as a single star for when they break up. He makes
Putting
sense.
putting tag teams
Well,
in.
Chad
is not a good
Gable.
thing either.
I'm sorry. If Chad Gable had a singles run though, like not the Shorty G kind of singles run, I guarantee you, like Chad Gable could do pretty well. I mean, I could probably go as far and say as honestly, Chad Gable is highly slept on, and that he could possibly be this generation's Kurt Angle if he was booked properly.
I agree.
Nice.
I'm
I will
sorry.
say this.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jamie.
I will say this, non-related, but when Gable and Xavier Woods was in there, did you see that wrestling clinic they put on Pure Wrestling?
Yes, it was amazing.
Oh, okay.
Like, I understand Ray got hurt during the match on Friday. Then get somebody else up there just to take his place. Don't have his music hit and don't have no person come out.
Realistically, right now, with all due respect, it sounds like you're just bitching a bitch about what went wrong.
Maybe I am. But it's disheartening to have this same thing happen multiple years in a row and have nothing come from it. Like, no, you're not building anybody. Like, you're not doing anything. You're just building the same things over and over. Yes, they extended storylines, and I understand that. But the way that they did it, it just, I don't know. To me, this was, as bad as some of the other matches were, this one should have been a lot better last night.
I don't know. From the point of view I'm hearing, and again, try to come at this as respectful as possible, it sounds like you're just too caught up in the nostalgicness of the Rumbles and how they used to be and not giving it a chance at being something new. We don't need the surprises. Don't necessarily need the NXT call-ups. To a degree, I can see your point on the NXT call-ups. I can. But as for the surprises, we don't need them.
The NXT could be the surprises, though. They work together.
Right, and the crowd has no idea who they are half the time.
That's the problem. And I think that's
People knew Roxanne Perez because she was from Texas, but the other NXT chicks that came up, no one knew who they were. They got no reaction.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this, like the first real first person from NXT to really enter a Royal Rumble was, if I'm correct, Bo Dallas back in 2013 when he was NXT champion. And I remember seeing, I don't know if it was Botchamania or some other random YouTube channel, Bo Dallas's name comes up and Bo Dallas is going on. And in the background you hear, who the fuck is Bo Dallas?
Right. And another thing, too, is I'm trying to give NXT the props they deserve, but Vince shot them in the foot by completely tearing down everything Triple H built. I understand they're trying to kind of get back there, but Triple H was so heavy on the way he built it that everybody knew, at least some of the indie guys that went in, they followed NXT religiously, and then once it got scrapped for whatever you want to call that 2.0 crap that happened, so many fans fell off with the product.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2.0 year really just took it took
the sales out of everything NXT was.
And yet their viewership
Yeah,
is up
it was
more
like-
than it
it
was
took
with
it-
the gold, black and gold.
Yeah,
Well, listen,
they smashed it with a 2-ton hammer, and tried to go with some stuff that was absolute nonsense.
In my opinion, pun intended here, it took a full sale out of what it used to be. Anyway, so now that everybody's given their thoughts on the men's rumble, I'm gonna give it. We're gonna go out of 10 here.
Sure.
I'll give it a 6.
For all the
Hey,
praise you had,
go now.
you still want to give it a 6. Okay.
I mean, I'd give it a 10, but I'm being realistic. It continued stories. We already knew the winner beforehand, so 6. I think that's a solid rating for a Rumble match.
I give it a 5.
I'd give it a 7. I would give it a 10 if it was only off of continuing stories and being driven. But what kind of brought it down for me was how predictable the damn thing was, and how even after each contestant, I was guessing correctly who was next. So that kind of brought it down for me.
I'm gonna throw it out there and say a 7 also. Not the greatest Rumble by any stretch of the imagination. Definitely some clunky spots and some, but the fans were hot for this entire Rumble. That first match, the fans were hot for the entire thing. So I will say that helps it better. That helped to make it better. And the performance that we got from Gunther was absolutely incredible. And Sheamus and Drew McIntyre had an underrated performance also. So yeah, I'm going to say a solid 7.
I'm going to give it an 8, mainly because of Gunther, because of Cody. Yeah, Cody winning was the biggest outtake for me.
And I guess if I'm the last one standing, yeah, I'm just gonna give it a solid 7.
Before we move on to the next match, there's one thing that I want to say something. There's one thing I want to say. Yet again,
Okay.
Logan Paul shows up, does something crazy, proves he belongs in a ring, and people still want to shit on him. Dude was made for this. End of story.
Oh, all right. Hold on. Because before we move on, because this is relevant to this match. A or B? Who's got the better buckshot lariat? Hangman or Logan?
It's Logan.
Logan.
Logan Paul all the way. I'm sorry, Hangman.
He doesn't
Your time
stutter.
Is up. His time is now. You can't see me.
He lands on both feet and launches himself forward.
Okay. So, Scals, what's your opinion on it, real quick?
I was gonna say it was so like Logan Paul's is just fluid. Like
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
I mean, Logan's just pure athlete.
Here's my take on it. Strength-wise, Hangman's nailed the strength on it.
I don't know. That one last night was brutal.
Athleticism, and fluidness, Logan, 100%.
It's funny that you're bringing up comparing Logan Paul to Hangman. I just opened up
That's-
Twitter and somebody is comparing the Logan Paul Ricochet in-ring thing to CM Punk and Kofi when they did it inside a chamber.
Oh.
You know, CM Punk had a pretty lousy buckshot lariat too.
And CM Punk looked like
and
trash
Logan
in this
Paul.
thing too.
Ricochet and Logan Paul are more athletic than Kofi and CM Punk. See, Kofi Kingston's close, for sure. CM Punk is not.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kofi
But yeah,
did it
I just
fine. It
wanted
was
to-
CM Punk that was what else?
Right.
I also informed my wife last night about Kofi's pectoral muscles not existing anymore thanks to the Big Show.
Also, the
He was like,
mystery.
I was wondering. But yeah, all right. So, yeah, all right. Moving on from the men's rumble.
Next, we have the pitch black match.
The what match?
Pitch black.
Pitch black.
No, the Mountain Dew pitch black
Pitch
match.
black.
Well, I'm gonna start this off because everybody in here, including Scals, even though he is a relatively big Wyatt fan as well, I was disappointed in the match.
Oh.
The match itself. I'm not talking about afterwards yet.
Everything
We're
that
just talking
happened
about the match
afterwards, just
itself.
like the actual in-ring stuff.
Now, I'm not going to bitch about time because if anybody remembers when the Fiend debuted against Finn Balor at SummerSlam, it was only like a 5-minute match too. Bray, everybody and their mother knows that Bray is not a exactly quote-unquote wrestler of the year material. He's never going
Right.
to be that wrestler of the year material. He tells stories, and that's a different kind of wrestler than what you would see in like Ricochet or Kofi Kingston, or just anybody at this point. And I love Bray. The match itself, just other than aesthetically appealing on the eyes, maybe like the whole glowing of the black lights, I thought that was cool. like the effects were fine. Wasn't like, oh my god, but it was all right. Shout out to Pat McAfee for making a weird, obscene comment, reminding me of myself, saying thank God he washed his pants today because they had black lights on.
Yeah, I thought that.
Yep. Yep.
I thought that
I
was
like
great.
that use of the black. I like the use of the black lighting
Yeah.
and the ultraviolet stuff because, like, if you
Yeah,
like again, it's a pitch. They calling it a pitch black match. I'm expecting a lights out match, but and I think they kind of did deliver because like not only like when they said pitch black, you know, I'm expecting like almost for them lights out. But they actually used black lighting with the ultraviolet to make sure things were actually visible, and plus it made what Bray Wyatt was originally wearing, like, you know, it looked kind of weird with what he was actually wearing, but then once the black light came down along with the mix of the ultraviolet and you saw the, like, you know, the infrared paint that was all around on him, like, it just made it pop even more
So
and just got you more
I
like
did a lot of
into-
reading. I did a lot of reading last night on this match afterwards because that's what I typically do.
Sure.
I like to see what people's thoughts are on Bray's matches. But one thing I noticed in the whole UV setting, Bray had the number 6 in Roman numerals on his head.
Yeah.
So that's a callback. That's not really a callback, but it's a callback to the Wyatt stick itself, or the Cult of Wyndham, if you will.
Correct.
Another thing, the whole face paint threw me off guard a little bit. He had the fiendish eyes, which was kind of cool to see. Other than that, a lot of people were like, "Oh, they buried LA Knight. Oh, they did this." I wouldn't consider it.
Not even close.
Just hang on. I wouldn't consider it burying in any sense of the word. And then the people are like, "Oh, that match is too short." And then I've commented on a few stuff, being like, "You realize when the Fiend debuted, it wasn't that long of a match itself. It's in that, blah blah blah." So overall, for me, that match just didn't do it for me. And we'll just talk about the match at this moment, if you guys don't mind, and then we'll talk the rest. But like that match just was to me. I'm gonna throw this one over to who just spoke. Sorry.
My bad.
No, you're good. I'll throw it over to you because you sound like you wanted to cut in there. So
Yeah, a little bit. So, like, as a visual spectacle, this was cool as hell. The lighting, the atmosphere, the paint on his face that glowed in the dark, the glow in the dark gear by LA Knight, the glow in the dark ropes, the weird confetti shit everywhere. That was cool. That was legitimately cool.
I think maybe the confetti. If I can cut you off for a sec, Nate.
Yeah.
I think the confetti was supposed to represent the fireflies, maybe, because that's what kind of looked like every time they crashed.
Right, and I don't hate that either. Like I said, from a visual standpoint, this was really cool. But it's definitely better than fucking red lighting in a Hell in a Cell match, but let's not get into that.
Yeah.
What was I going at? As a pay-per-view match, this was atrocious. Like, the in-ring work, and yeah, no one's confusing Bray Wyatt with Bret Hart in between the ropes, you know what I mean? But he's definitely a better worker than whatever this was. And whether it's because it's his first televised match in almost 3 years, or 2 years, my bad, that got him, you know, nervous or something, I'm not sure. I know him and LA Knight are both capable of more. Maybe they had their time cut for some reason. I'm not sure. But this was not it for me as a match.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But I will give them the benefit of the doubt. I know LA Knight's going to be fine. That man's a future world champion. I don't care what you say. And Bray Wyatt is a perpetually over guy. I just think they really need to have some kind of development with this Uncle Howdy thing now. I think that's the point we're at in this story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's about time that we start getting more into it. But for the match itself, like everyone else said, the visual aspects were great. How about after the match? I guess Uncle Howdy was walked out with help by the refs, I guess, because he hurt himself. And my wife watched it today. She was like, did you see that Uncle Howdy didn't land on LA Knight, I guess.
Not even close.
But visually, this match was good. Other than that, it was a blink and you miss it type of match. I get it. It's not braying about the time. It's storytelling. I get that. But still, I felt it could have been a few minutes longer.
That's fair to say. Jamie, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. The match, obviously, that's the thing about Wyatt. The match doesn't really need to do anything for you because you're in it for the drama, you're in it for the story. Something that's been on my mind every time we see Uncle Howdy. Most of the time, it's someone different each time. Or that's just what my mind is telling me. It might not be the case, but I think it's someone different every time. This time, I don't know. He got up there, so. And then you see the Funhouse characters, like when he re-debuted. You're starting to tell a story. So once we need to, figure out more into who is Uncle Howdy, and then that will definitely progress the story even more. So I don't have much to say, Bill.
Cam, just to go off your comment, I don't really think there was a good time during that match to reveal Uncle Howdy. That's not something you do. I think there's a different time for that.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, Cam. You are wrong on this. The story is not dead. It's just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
This match did what it was supposed to do. It was not about the match. The match was there for cool visual cues, and that just the way that it was with all the lighting, the colored ring, the ropes, everything. It was just a way for Wyatt to get back into the ring in front of people. Everything that happened after is what's important, and we'll soon to see why. That's all I'm going to say.
Absolutely.
Nothing else really to say about on this match.
Yep. I mean, I guess that leaves me. So, as far as the actual match itself, yes, I feel like it could have been a little bit better, like as far as what happened in between the ropes wise, but. Yeah, again, we're starting to see a little bit of we're getting more to the story. We got more to the story right afterwards. The red eyes, the fang-like teeth, and then the next thing we know, Bray's putting on another mask. And I know some people are like, "Oh shit, Bray Wyatt's bringing back the Fiend." It's like, but no. We get a new mask this time. And part of me is telling me by the look at this new mask, it might just be the Uncle Harper mask because of the similarities between that said mask and the mask that John Huber or Harper wore back when he was a member of the Bludgeon Brothers. Now, to carry on, it like the Uncle Harper thing kind of had what the Fiend used to do. LA Knight whacked him with a kendo stick, ate it, kept walking toward him like he was a freaking Terminator, RoboCop, Doom guy ass dude, whatever. And then it got to that certain spot where, Uncle Howdy's up above. He does like that weird elbow drop into like a trust fall like thing and just send each other straight to hell with the Firefly Funhouse characters looking above. Now, there's one thing I could say about this that may sound a little off the wall, I just need you to hear me out. If we are going along with this whole Wyatt 6 Cult of Wyndham sort of story, I think LA Knight was a good way to start this Cult of Wyndham off. What is LA Knight really known for? He's good for talking. He's known for flapping his gums. He rambles. And in the Firefly Funhouse,
All right, hold
Ramblin'
on.
Rabbit had nothing but good things to say about LA Knight. So if LA Knight is somehow like taken out of this picture, what I'm starting to think, whoa, if we are gonna bring these characters together, could they make LA Knight into a reincarnation of Ramblin' Rabbit? I don't know.
No,
We'll have
but-
to find out.
I want to be this guy, and I'm going to crush your dream just a little bit here.
I know. Like I said.
Ryan Staten did an interview with Wyndham here the other day. Wyndham said, out of all the characters, Ramblin' wasn't even supposed to be there. It's just a character of his own consciousness, of him being conscious of himself and being. I can't remember the exact. I can't quote.
He said that
what
over
Wyndham said.
time he started to take on the representation of Bray Wyatt the person.
Right, that's what it was, along those lines. And so, while I'd love that theory to come true about, Knight being Ramblin' Rabbit, I wish people will stop trying to get these people, or quote-unquote characters, to come to fruition as superstars. I don't think we're going to see it. I also do not think, at this point, or ever, we might not even get to know who Uncle Howdy is, and I'm okay with not knowing who Howdy is, because in my opinion, Howdy is Bray's subconscious, bringing him back to what he is supposed to be.
Why don't you ask the person that just came into the channel? His name's Uncle Howdy.
Well,
Also, now I'm just gonna say something, then I'll let you guys take off into the post-match stuff. I'm gonna say two things. One, going into this post-match stuff we're about to discuss, they should have given LA Knight the actual win in this match if that was the aftermath. Two, and I'm going to address it first, the amazing tribute to Brody at that stage where he kisses his fingers and then points straight out. I loved it. And I immediately pointed. It's like that meme with DiCaprio where he's like, and then he points. He's like, yo.
I saw
that
last night too, and I was happy about it.
Yes.
But Phil, since I crushed your dreams, I'll let you start off with post-match.
Shattered dreams, LOL. But it's all right though. It's all right. Again, it was just something that I kind of I might have just created in my own head, and I know it was a little bit far fetched, but you know what? I just aired it out, just maybe.
No, but go ahead and tell us what your thoughts on the whole post-match stuff.
I mean, I thought I said everything about the post match, but I mean, yeah. Again, very different because, Bray Wyatt, like after he basically won, and we saw the red eyes and the weird fangs. He put on that mask again. He put on a mask, and I guess for some people who are big Fiend fans are like, oh my god, Bray Wyatt's bringing back the Fiend, yowie wowie, all that stuff. But yet, yeah, it's very different. It's very different from what we've seen before. And my guess is that could be the Uncle Harper persona, which again, the mask reminded me of Harper's mask back from the Bludgeon Brothers. So I don't know if they're going to be creating an Uncle Harper out of that mask or whatever. But again, I think this is only the beginning of Bray Wyatt's babyface chaos. I don't know.
I loved the aftermath. The way they started in the ring, how he turned around, put the mask on, and everything just changed, like the different way that it accentuated it. And then just the way he went over to the area where the stage was at, and how he just ate those kendo sticks. Like, just ate them. Like, it was great.
Like he's a Terminator.
Right, like it was a new version of the Fiend, but not the Fiend, because the Fiend was like that when he first showed up.
A better
Right.
version of
Right.
the Fiend.
A more evolved
This was.
version of the Fiend.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, we have Cam going off in the chat about how he's done with it. He's tired of waiting. He wanted a payoff already. This is just getting started, and that's the problem with. Yeah, Shadow.
Oh, that wasn't my bad. That was my mic was supposed to be muted.
Oh. It was perfect timing, so that's why I figured you were going to butt in. We don't know what Bray is capable of fully, because he's always been restricted. This time he's not. I cannot wait to see what happens from this, because he's been on a pay-per-view twice, and both times the puppets have shown up in live action. I'm curious to see what's going to happen going forward. Go ahead, Jamie. You look like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just, the thing he said earlier about Rambling Rabbit and all that, I have a different thought, just kind of little theory. Maybe those puppet characters are representations of not necessarily a faction in the future, maybe of like opponents that are lined up. Maybe it's an inner fight with, his inner self. And, the ones he keeps around him and stuff like that.
So LA
Because if you're thinking
LA Knight would be equivalent to
Rambling
Rabbit.
Or, maybe in the future you get a debut of Joe Gacy, there's that pig character, not trying to comment on the weight or anything. It could be that kind of sort of thing. It's just a food for thought. And I thought you were going to say earlier how you talk about the fans, how they're already expecting a payoff. How they want long-term storytelling, but when they get it,
they're impatient.
Every
time.
No disrespect. Yeah.
And that's the reason why WWE doesn't do it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they try to, the fans don't want it, and when they don't, the fans want it, and then complain when they do it. It's like a never-ending cycle. Prince, you want to go?
Prince.
Oh, yeah, I'm here. Sorry, my camera's messing up. Yeah, I enjoyed the After Effect. I love how when Bray put that mask on, he became indestructible. It seemed like he finally is giving in to this evil side. And he's slowly spiraling down. And we're definitely on the road of seeing more of this as the weeks pass, and I can't wait to see what we get at Elimination Chamber, and from there on it's gonna be even better. This right here was truly amazing right here. The end result was great. Seeing that indestructible side of Bray was phenomenal. It was top tier.
And I think the only one who hasn't spoken about this would be Nate.
So the post-match stuff could have been better. Obviously, Uncle Howdy, when he did his dive, missed by about 47 miles. It was
a little bit of a stretch. 47?
It was pretty bad.
Nate, it was more like 66 miles.
Oh my gosh. So, I also agree with Shadow if the end game was to beat the piss out of LA Knight and have Uncle Howdy jump 15 feet down and crush him, then LA Knight should have won the match. I still think LA Knight should have won the match regardless, because I think it furthers this storyline better than Bray just winning does. But I don't think the story is dead because, there's still a lot of ways this could go. We don't know which way it's going to go yet. I don't even think Bray knows what he's going to be doing next. I think he's just kind of doing this fluidly, doing things, seeing how it works out, and then coming up with the next stop, short term. I don't think he even knows where he's going with this. I don't know if he knows what his end game is, and that's going to make it better for all of us in the long run. So yeah, the post-match stuff wasn't great, aside from the great tribute to Brody Lee, that if you were looking, it happened right when the pyrotechnics went off. It was super fucking cool. And the new mask was really freaky, and I don't know, I think he pulled it out of his shirt. I don't know, but it was really freaky. So I mean, yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. I hope the execution is a little better next time around, but given that it was his first match back and we have no idea what to expect from this Mountain Dew pitch black match, I give it a little benefit of the doubt. You know, it's why it's first televised match, since WrestleMania 2 years ago, so whatever. It is what it is.
If Wyatt was able to pull that mask out of his shirt, damn, he has like
Well, he was
bottomless
wearing
pockets.
he was wearing several layers.
It looked,
Oh.
yeah, it
They're like
in
a
a way
vest
it almost
on.
looked like chainmail.
So I didn't cover any of the post match stuff yet because I wanted you guys to talk. Now I don't know how much of. I mean, I know a few of you at least paid attention to Wyndham when he was gone, and there was a picture, and I don't know if Scales can find it fast enough, but that picture he tweeted, and it's like a half a face that we all thought was the new Fiend mask coming back when he was just first released.
Yeah.
It was like a demonic looking figure. And I think that's what that new mask is supposed to represent.
Okay.
Is that figure like that picture? So that's to that. I enjoyed the Uncle Howdy spot. Yes, I know he missed. We all know. Thank you. You don't need to chant AEW because that happened. Fuck, that ruined it for me.
AEW. No, I'm kidding.
Ugh, that pissed me off. That was so dumb. There was
No,
literal
I'm kidding,
fans
I'm
doing
kidding.
it to that too. No, not you.
Do we need to remind them of the Matt Hardy spot where he
Or
smacked
the
his elbow
deathmatch
around?
spot. Or the deathmatch spot that had sprinklers. But anyhow.
Yeah. Sparklers.
So to that effect, what if Howdy jumping off the top? Now keep in mind, I know there's still an Alexa story to be told. What if Howdy jumping off the top to meet LA Knight and then a fire coming up? What if that's to send Howdy back to hell?
That's exactly what I said. Like, I had mentioned this when I was just on a group chat with people. It's like literally Uncle Howdy took LA Knight and sent him to hell with him.
So there's something that I've been kind of considering too, real quick. Bray Wyatt, when he's Bray Wyatt, does not get along with this Uncle Howdy. Uncle Howdy hits him with the Sister Abigail or torments him, and
Yeah.
But as soon as he put the mask on last night, they both went after LA Knight. They had a common goal. So apparently, when Bray embraces this dark side of himself and he puts this mask on,
He aligned with Uncle Howdy.
he's an ally of Uncle Howdy. And I think that's worth looking into.
And then when he's Bray Wyatt and locks Howdy away, that's when Howdy tries to come through.
Right.
And then the next thing I was gonna say, because everybody's criticizing, because everybody thinks that this pitch black match was Bray's creation. Bray himself said, "I have no idea what this match is. This has nothing to do with me creatively. This was literally put together by WWE Creative. This wasn't a Bray match." But he went along with it because it fits into what he's doing. With that being said, the match itself, I'm giving it a 2.5, and I'm being nice. The after effects, I'll give it a 4 for a total of, I'll just say 5.5. I know it's over that, but I'm gonna go 5.5 out of 10 on that.
Yeah. Overall, that was a 4 for me, and there's not really much more I can say about it. The effects and the visuals help this from being a 0 or a 2,
Yeah.
I guess. But
Right.
yeah, 4.
Shadow.
Yeah. Yes.
I just put up the.
Oh, there it is. Yep.
Yeah, that's the image I was talking about.
That's the image you're talking about.
Yeah,
Right.
that mask. Exactly that mask. Yep.
So kind of does.
Oh.
You see it?
Yeah. I see like one part of it.
Well, that's all that he
Yeah,
posted.
that's all you see.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
That's all he posted was a half of the face.
But I think it goes off that, to be fair. So Prince, what's your rating on it?
Altogether, I give it a I give it a 5. The match itself got a 2. The post-op got the 3.
Jamie?
NA out of 10, it's Bray Wyatt. You know what you get. I kind of seem that it's unfair to kind of rate his matches because that's not kind of what you watch Wyatt for. You don't watch Bray Wyatt for the matches. You watch it for the entertainment and what's going
Understandable.
on. So it's hard for me to rate his matches.
It's hard for me too, but I mean, if you had to give it a rating, give us a rating.
Oh, the match alone, a 3.
Okay. Yeah, like I understand what we're getting into with Bray, and I think that the group of us do here. But for the sake of the show, we just kind of give every match a rating, right? So, Phil, what about you?
For me, I would give the match itself. I would probably give it a solid 3. If you include the backstage shenanigans, I would give that maybe 4. So overall, a 7 out of 10.
Fair enough. Scals, what about you?
That's including the post stuff. So
Yeah, no, fair.
The match itself, I give it 2.5. The aftermath, it goes up to a 4.5 for me.
All right, fair enough. On to the next. What is the next match on the card? I can't remember. I think it's Alexa.
Bianca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it before anybody gets talking. Bathroom break match.
yeah, I mean, kind of, yeah.
I actually.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll let you say what you're going to say here. Go ahead.
I actually enjoyed the match. I was actually it kind of sucked that it didn't get more time because there's those two girls could work. They could do anything you want. There's really not much story into it besides the whole what's going on with the Uncle Howdy thing. That kind of took me out of it because I'm not ready for Alexa to go back yet. You're doing too much with that Uncle Howdy character. We want to figure out what's going on with Bray and Uncle Howdy first before we start going into other things. That's kind of my thoughts on it. The match itself, I enjoyed it. Match-wise, 8 out of 10. For me, the whole Uncle Howdy and Alexa Bliss, I think you're trying to rush that a little too quickly. I wasn't a fan of that. So,
like, I'll when I get talking, I'll let you know. Nate, you go in.
So I was also not a fan of how this match only was given like 7 minutes of ring time. We both know Alexa and Bianca are capable of a whole lot more. They've done it together before. So like, Bianca is one of the top female workers on the planet, and I'll die on that hill, regardless of what I think about her booking. Alexa Bliss has been one of the best character workers on the planet, regardless of her booking. So like, here we are in this match that was it was never really about the match, which is a very common theme for the Royal Rumble pay-per-view last night. It was never about the match. It was about the story that was being told. Bianca just needed something to do and someone to feud with until Rhea Ripley won the Royal Rumble. Alexa Bliss needed to advance her storyline with whatever's going on with this Howdy, Bray Wyatt, or whatever. So this was never about the match to begin with. It's more about the storyline, and in that aspect, it worked because I'm genuinely interested to see what happens with Bliss moving forward. Now Rhea Ripley can move on to, or Bianca Belair can move on to Rhea Ripley, and Bliss can go, probably feud with someone else and still get tormented by Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt, and I mean we'll see where it goes from here. So I mean, not a great match, but the story development again was a really big factor. So I was entertained.
Exactly.
Scout.
I believe the Belair versus Ripley feud will be big this year.
All right. Scales, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm tired of seeing Bianca Cena on my screen. She needs to lose. She has the 5 moves of doom. She does nothing different. All her matches are the same. Get beat up. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, do the KOD, win. I'm tired of it. Match. It should have gone a lot longer. Made it a little more impressive, but Alexa needed to win this, get the belt off of her. So all I want is Rhea Ripley to pick her, beat her, and take the belt to Mania.
All right, Phil.
When it came to the Alexa Bliss Bianca Belair match for the title, again, it kind of seemed like a normal. I don't know what it was, but it kind of seemed like a normal Bianca Belair versus opponent match. However, I felt like there was still somewhat of a story being told throughout it, because I remember specifically, I remember Alexa specifically saying something to Bianca, something along the lines of, you don't get it, Bianca, you're never gonna get it, or whatever it was she said. It just made me like raise my eyebrow and kind of think, it's like, well, what is she what is Alexa talking about in this statement? Like what does she mean that she's not gonna get it, or she's not gonna, or she couldn't stay away from it? Like, what is that something that my mind is not wrapped around? But yet Bianca's able to defeat her clean, no problem, and no interference from like nothing Wyatt related that caught Alexa Bliss into a KOD and had her pinned for a 3 count. And then afterwards, all we get is like some sort of visionary thing of a playground, and she just looks at it with kind of like a bit of a almost terrified, almost mystified, until we cut to like little promo-y stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to dictate where the hell or what happened with that. Like, I feel like WWE completely. I don't know if it's intentional or like what they're trying to really accomplish with this whole story. Going like kind of a callback to Nate there with the whole. They just needed something to do and fill time slot. Like, I get it, right? You want your champion on TV as much as possible. As for like this match, like, you knew something was up. Lexi didn't come out looking anything like the Dark Lexi, so you kind of knew that wasn't going to happen. It's just hard. Like, it really is hard to dictate like what is happening in this story. Like, they sold it and overhyped it, in my opinion. I just wasn't impressed. Nothing really impressed me much about it. And like Bianca's 5 moves of doom, and I mean, they're both strong, and it's hard, right? Because you don't want to make either look weak, but you kind of almost, in a sense, bury Alexa last night with just the way she lost.
Yeah, you have a point.
Not necessarily bury in the general, like, hey guys, Alexa's been buried in that, in this feud. No,
yeah,
but like,
not
it makes her look.
Shovel.
No, it questions why you even had this whole feud in the first place. But back to Nate's point, it's just a time filler.
Mm-hmm. It was out of place and very odd to me.
It was a Monday Night Raw main event, maybe.
Yes.
But it wasn't Rumble worthy.
Right.
Oh, not at all.
Prince?
So, I really ain't got much to say about this, except for Bianca's time is soon coming to an end, and we know why. That's it. That's all I got to say.
Should have been ended already.
You could say she's going to meet her Judgment Day.
Ah!
Yeah.
LOL.
Mommy.
All right. So now that brings us into, I believe, the Women's Rumble.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh boy.
So, let's go Prince to start this one.
I loved how we started off with Mommy. Oh,
Yeah. It's so.
He says it so innocently, mommy.
see, cause oh god, that's mommy, man. Oh my god, hurt me. Ah, yeah.
Did Prince just pull a Nate? Hurt me, mommy.
Oh yeah, I learned from the best. But Rhea Ripley going in there full force at number 1 and just hanging in there, man. She did damage. Honestly, I'm just highly impressed with Rhea, and I truly can't wait for that moment to finally come when we have Rhea Ripley's hand raised, hopefully at Mania, and become champion. Because if she's gonna win anywhere, it has to be at Mania, because will that will put her up there, guaranteed spot, even bigger and better. Like, focus on this one. If the focus ain't on her as much as it should be right now, when she does win the big one at Mania, there's gonna be even more eyes on her. Trust me, Rhea will be the one to put Judgment Day up there. Judgment Day ain't doing shit. Rhea and Dom are the only ones saving Judgment Day, honestly. Yeah, Finn and Priest are there. Yeah, I get that. But right now, honestly, are we really focused on Judgment Day, or are we focused on Mommy and Dom? You know, so that right there is the big focus. And this right here, Rhea winning the WWE Women's Champion will be good for her, and just as good for Judgment Day, because the Judgment Day will soon be on top, and it's gonna start with Rhea Ripley. That's a fact.
Fair enough. Bill.
The women's Royal Rumble match. This one, I will say, like, between the men and the women, this one, I think, to me, was a bit better because, again, with the men's Royal Rumble, you only had room for only like 3 surprise guests, and everyone else were like, "Oh yeah, we already know who you are. We don't really give a fuck." But anyway, there were a lot of very interesting. There were a lot of interesting entrants. I will say, I agree with Prince. I would like to say that with Rhea entering at number 1 and Liv Morgan entering at number 2 and being able to survive up until the final 4, that speaks volumes for both Rhea and Morgan. Like, we already know that Rhea is over because of her alignment with Judgment Day. But Liv Morgan getting the same amount of attention is just as important as Rhea, because Liv, I mean, we all know that Liv Morgan's SmackDown Women's Championship run was not the strongest at all, to say the least. But at least they're starting to build her up now to where she could be in the main event. She could be in the main event picture again and become a stronger champion if the future lets us. But again, there were a lot of I like the diversity in the entrance. Number 7, you had B-Fab from Hit Row. I didn't think I was gonna see B-Fab hit the WWE ring, and yes, I know she was the first one eliminated, but I still think we might just see something from B-Fab in the future. Right after B-Fab, you had the NXT Women's Champion. You had Roxanne Perez, which I think, again, what a great way to showcase your women's division in NXT with the NXT Women's Champion. And then, of course, you had the return of Natalya at number 11. Looking great, by the way, after dealing with that broken nose. Zoe Stark at 13. 17, of course, Asuka comes back. We get Asuka.
Who?
but she's wearing but she's not wearing like the simple little mask that just covered this part of her face and that was it. She was wearing like a full on, Oni, like like a Asian demon mask. And when she took it off and we saw that sinister clown-like look, we knew, holy shit, this is Kana. She's about to fuck shit up.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
What's that?
I don't know. I guess to just finish it off, again, Piper Niven, Chelsea Green, Indy Hartwell, and then the biggest surprise, Nia freaking Jax.
You also left out at number 25, real mommy, Michelle McCool.
Oh, real mommy Michelle McCool.
All right.
That was
so Scout. What's your take?
So, I actually enjoyed this show, this match. Liv wanted to start out number 1. She almost got her wish. She started at number 2, so, which is essentially number 1 because they both entered at the same time. But to have her, Rhea, and Kana be the last 3, I thought that spoke to her development in the last 3 months since she lost the belt. She went from being this person that gave up. Like, she didn't give up necessarily, but she wasn't viewed as somebody that could be tough. She was viewed as almost like a pushover. And the way her character is developed into this hardcore type person to withstand everything, and she almost won in the end, even after she got sprayed by Kana. I couldn't, like, Rhea almost slipped and fell, and I really wanted to see that happen, just for the fact that it would have been not what they planned, and I wanted to see how they went off with that, because sometimes the best rumbles are when things don't go as planned.
Well, call back.
She wasn't ready.
If I can't cut you off for 1 second while you're in the middle of what you're saying, call back to the slip and fall. If y'all are forgetting that earlier in the night, Cody went over the top rope and touched the ground.
So, in regards to that, I don't know if he actually did have both feet hit the floor, but he did hit his head against the commentary table, and I think that's why they said he was eliminated.
Yeah.
No. Cody, not Kofi.
Oh,
Cody. Yeah, he went over the top and both feet touched the ground.
Yeah, that did happen.
And they acted like nothing happened?
Yeah. Nothing happened. They just played it off.
Like, the camera was even right there when it happened, too.
Interesting, I missed that.
So does that mean that Rey
he
Mysterio is the winner of the 2023 Royal Rumble then?
Technically should be.
Maybe.
He never entered. Never lost.
But continue with your points, guys.
There were some good and intriguing moments in this match. Like how everybody banded together to get Nia Jax out of the ring after she said what she needed to say, made fun of everybody, said that she was here to destroy everything, and then threw everybody off for her, and then they all ganged up on her again and got her out, which was great. I really didn't want her.
I guess OnlyFans isn't paying off for her. But anyways, continue.
The Chelsea Green return was surprising but funny. I think it was a better reaction of it was her husband on Twitter saying that he was proud of her being there, and then he was calling it the San Antonio screw job. I'm curious as to see what they're going to do with Indy Hartwell now that she's up there. Is she staying up, or is she going to go back down to NXT?
I mean, yeah. I prefer to have her up just because there's a story to be told with her.
Right.
I mean, they could definitely use her on the SmackDown side.
See, but I think she's going to go onto the men's side in regards to teaming up with Gargano.
The men's side?
On Raw side, sorry. teaming
There
up
you go.
with Gargano, Loomis, and Candice again.
I don't necessarily see her doing all with all four of them. I could see her just being Candice's partner for stuff because it's a natural tag team.
Yeah.
It's a feud, and they have a feud with Damage Control. Right?
Correct.
Yeah, true.
Correct.
There you go.
Because Damage Control essentially dominated the Rumble for the most part. Until Becky came out.
Excuse you.
Yeah.
All right. Who's next?
Let's go. I think Nate and Prince are left, and Jamie. So go Jamie, then Nate, then Prince, and myself.
Alrighty. I'll go ahead.
Prince started it. So he's done.
I will say this was
Oh,
probably
right.
my favorite match of the night. I enjoyed the heck out of it, man. The women showed up and showed everybody that they could do it as good as the men. You know, normally I'm like, okay, women's match, I'm out of it. I'm not going to want to watch it. But for the purpose of being here tonight and talking about it, I did watch it, and I was very pleased with it. I will say, you know, you see Nikki Cross when she made her entrance writing down like, and I was running, you know, and you got some good surprises, a lot of NXT representation.
Hold on.
You know, you got Indy
Did you
Hartwell.
just Forrest Gump that running sentence?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
You know, you got
Continue.
Kana back. You know, you got, you know, even Lacey Evans, even though she appeared on SmackDown, could have returned her at the Rumble, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. Piper Niven, nice to see her back with her name, and Nia Jax. You know, I'm okay with it. You know, let's see how it goes. Just as long as they don't push her to the top, I'll be okay with it.
How many people
I
was
was-
going to injure along the way?
That's my concern. But
He
I will
dislocated
say-
Rhea Ripley's shoulder, so
I will say, you know, you knew who was going to win. And that was fun, you know, because you got to see, okay, how fun is this match going to be? The Chelsea Green thing, it was awesome to see her back. And, you know, with that elimination, setting a new record, fine. It fits Chelsea Green. That's kind of her, you know, she has that goofy, whatever attitude about her character, anyways. It was just a fun match overall. You know, not to be too serious about it. It was great. Liv Morgan killed it. Roxanne Perez killed it. I think she's going to be a future superstar, like shot to the moon. But overall, great match.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure it was Booker that tried to get her into the Royal Rumble anyway. If Booker T was going in the Royal Rumble, she was going to be in the Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm. And you know, and one last thing I did want to see, it was touching tribute by Mia Yim to wear the Jay Briscoe armband. That
Yes, I noticed that too. That was awesome.
So okay, Phil cut out there for a second, but I think his sentence still came through pretty well.
Mm.
And sorry, just one last thing. As I'm watching, I'm actually kind of watching the last bit of it right now. To see Nia Jax, her attire, if you look at her attire, it's like it looks like a bloodline, like the bloodline attire with all the tribal stuff on it. I just noticed that.
Stop it right now.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Stop it. The only woman acceptable in the bloodline right now is Naomi.
Sure.
No, Mina.
Absolutely not.
Nobody's Mina than Tamina.
Mina, because ain't nobody Mina.
Mina than Tamina.
It's Tamina, because nobody Mina.
I
just-
mean, 75 years old, a chain-smoking grandmother, and she can't wrestle for shit.
No, but I think,
Damn.
you know.
I mean, she did lose weight, so
That has nothing to do with it.
it does. Maybe she's a little more active, a little more athletic now.
I love your optimism.
Rhea still couldn't pick her up all the way.
Anyways, as far as just the match goes, the Women's Royal Rumble was probably the best match of the night. It was booked very well. I thought a lot of the women had a lot of time to shine. Having the 1 and 2 both last all the way to the end, I think the last time they did that was with Triple H and Rey Mysterio in 2006. when Rey Mysterio ended up winning. I think that's how it went. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, anyways. The match was great. Liv Morgan looked like a star. Rhea Ripley just continues to dominate and be the star that we knew she always was going to be. Luckily, she's still really young. She's like, what, 24, 25, something like that. She's still
I
really
think 25, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, she had plenty of time to build herself up still. I don't think anyone has benefited from the Judgment Day more than Rhea Ripley has. I've been saying this for months. She is the clear biggest star out of that faction. And she is going on to hopefully main event night 1 of WrestleMania against Bianca Belair and win the title. She definitely deserves this, but I also want to talk about the ending sequence of that match. That was one of the best endings to a Royal Rumble match I've ever seen. The way that it was booked was flawless. Asuka goes for
was
the
a nail biter.
Asuka, they're all on the edge of the ring of the apron. They've all
Sorry,
been
who
over
went
the
for the
top
miss?
rope. What's that?
Who went for the mist?
Asuka.
Who?
Her name is Asuka. It's not Kana.
It's Kana, but anyway.
She was billed as Asuka. Nobody referred to her.
I know, it annoys me. I continue.
It annoys all of us in here, Shadow. It's not just you.
I don't think it matters that much, but anyways, Asuka goes for the mist. Rhea Ripley ducks, hits poor Liv Morgan right in the face, and then Asuka, being like, "Oh shit, I hit the wrong person," gets herself eliminated by Rhea Ripley, and then Rhea Ripley almost falls completely,
'Cause she
has to
slipped
hold
on
on
the
to the
mist.
rope. Her feet were like half an inch from the floor. And then poor Liv Morgan, walking along the apron, blind as fuck, tries to get the elimination, tries to punch her hands off the ropes, and then Ripley just lifts up and fucking Hurricane Rana's her right onto the floor, which was a hard bump too. If you watch it back, that
sounded
shit
nasty.
beautiful. That was a solid hit.
It did.
And
Yeah, I'm not told that that's the ending. I think that was an audible.
I still like it
that
though.
whole thing, the slipping on the mist part. I don't think that was a part of the ending. I think that whole sequence right there, like the last second, was just an audible. But it was still great.
Right. I thought it was great. I thought that was the best way that match could have ended. And I think this honestly, I don't think this is the end of a push for Liv Morgan either. I think this is the start of a new one. I would not be surprised to see Liv Morgan win the Women's Elimination Chamber if they have one, and be the number 1 contender for Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, because I think Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler are going to go after the tag titles. I think that was the story they were kind of going towards.
Ronda's done.
So I would not be surprised if Liv Morgan took on Charlotte at WrestleMania.
And there's
But,
story
yeah,
behind
that's-
that because that's who got rid of Liv before her whole time she was away, before she went through like the whole vignettes and everything.
They could tell a whole bunch of stories there. Charlotte could easily just overlook her as weak competition and underestimate her. But yeah, I thought it was a great match.
I mean, the women's Royal Rumble was obviously, compared to the men's last night, was just phenomenal. The many matches within the match itself was just great. The storytelling within the match was great. There was many like Easter eggs for different feuds that are coming, or I think the biggest pop, though, in my opinion, was Piper, because when everybody realized she's not Dewdrop anymore, and she was Piper Niven, I think everybody was like, "Whoa!" You know, not very often you see WWE go back on a name, and I think that's what everybody wanted for Gunther to go back to Walter, but I think Gunther has done such a great job of building himself now as fuck it, I'm just gonna be Gunther.
It works.
You know, it got over, but that wasn't the case for Piper Niven with Dewdrop. It just never worked. And then obviously nobody's mentioned this, and it makes me upset a little bit. How about Michelle McCool's call back to her husband's last opponent with the Styles
Phenomenal.
Clash?
Yeah.
Ring.
Well, wasn't that her
Like-
finisher?
I think it might have been, but I still felt like it was like a callback moment, and maybe I forgot her finisher. I do apologize if I have.
I think she called it the Faith Breaker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh
It
yeah,
was
you're
called
right.
the Faith
Okay.
Breaker, the original Styles Clash.
She did.
Uh,
Who did it first, actually?
I think Styles has been doing it a lot longer than Michelle did, but anyhow.
Mhm.
The fact
maybe I
that
just
Pat McAfee made a point to say that was phenomenal after she did it, I see what you mean.
Dude, Pat
I
was
think
on
that's what
point.
helped my thought process
That
on
was
that is
that
the
was
phenomenal thing.
All right.
Yo. Pat is on point with a lot of his statements. He knows exactly what to say at exactly the right time. He's gold.
Right.
Maybe
Man.
like he was
but
calling
like-
Michael Cole pregnant all night.
But like to me, that
Wrong
women's
for that.
rumble, I truly enjoyed the little stories within itself. It also might have reemerged or kind of solidified a little bit more and building up damage control again. That they could dominate these women coming into this match. Because they did lose a lot of steam.
Oh yeah,
And I
that
think
was
the Rumble
pissing a
helped
lot of
them
people
kind of
off.
gather some more. And
Feuding
then,
with Becky is helping them too.
right. And everybody in this chat right now knows I hate this word, but someone's getting fired backstage for that botched Nia Jax moment. Holy hell. It was just at 10 and then her music hit.
Oh yeah.
I'm assuming, like, I'm sure the excitement was there for backstage producers, like, oh my god, she's back, boom. But, you know, it took it away a little bit, but I don't think it took away at all, if that makes sense. It kind of just shows that I'm just here to shit up, and I don't really care about this stupid buzzer.
That's how they could play it off that way.
Right. She just said, fuck it, I'm going out, instead of
And
waiting for
I'm
the
pretty
buzzer.
sure she's actually back because they have a T-shirt on WWE Shop for her now.
That was my point, too, because somebody had last night had said, oh, but it's probably just a one-off. And I'm like, she's
That
got
was
merch
me
again.
hoping.
Oh.
So
I don't mind. I don't
NXT
mind
Nia
Nia
Jax wasn't that bad. I don't know what happened when she got called up to the main roster. So like, I'm hoping it's something to do with Triple H's guidance. So maybe he can help her. I don't think Triple H would bring her back if he didn't think that he could handle it. So
Right.
I'm keeping an open mind about this.
It could also be another reason they brought her back, and many people already shit on me for this, but we could see her and Bianca feud. It doesn't necessarily have to be championship related, but like it could be someone to help bring Bianca back down a couple rungs on that ladder.
Mhm.
So she's
Super
going against someone a lot huger than her, or it could just be a complete waste of time.
It's like when,
But that whole final sequence, like Nate said, was just. I'm going to use this again when we talk about the next thing, but the ending is very masterclass booking.
Mhm.
Like you can't write that any better. And I'm super pumped for Rhea. She deserves everything in the world right now. She has shown that she could take the ball that she was handed and run with it. And for her to go 1-30, being the first woman to do that, the fourth, I think, or excuse me, the fifth, because WWE doesn't acknowledge one. The fifth person to do that is huge.
You talking about CB?
Yeah,
Okay.
talking about Chris Benoit.
Yep.
Yeah,
They-
I'm not
That was the
afraid to
point of
say
me.
it.
That was the point of me saying initials.
Yeah, I'm not
Say
gonna.
it.
It's not a hijinks to me. If you want to say it, you don't. You don't. That's fine. We're here. We all have controversial opinions on things, but that's besides the point. But yeah, no, the Rumble itself, the women's, it was just
According to Kane City in
it was
the
a
chat,
riptide of emotion.
Shadow.
Ah.
According to Kane City in the chat, they mentioned Matt Cardona during the Women's Rumble.
did
Yeah,
I
because
see.
of Chelsea Green.
Yeah. So who knows?
That's
But,
interesting.
Who, by the way, we can also add, Chelsea Green broke the record for the shortest time in a women's Royal Rumble, as Liv Morgan held it with 8. Chelsea got eliminated in 5.
Liv Morgan now holds the distinction of lasting the longest, along with Rhea Ripley.
yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Because technically, when it Rhea, no, I guess they both.
No,
were
the
outside
match
the
ends
ring.
at that exact moment.
Right. It's such a weird statistic, though. Isn't
No,
it?
it's one. She would be 1 second less.
But
Right.
that's not how WWE counted it.
Nope.
Are you sure?
100%.
Because if you look on Wikipedia, they both last the same time. Yes, I know Wikipedia can be edited. It's not a form of certified information.
Liv Morgan also posted about it and mentioned that they lasted the same amount of time.
Yeah. And you know what? Kudos. And I think with the purpose of Liv going the distance as well is because she had a great push. Everybody got behind her. And then every mark and their mother decided to turn on her. But Triple H felt strongly.
Not me, motherfuckers.
No, I said Mark. You're not a Mark. But you know, I think Triple H felt strong with the way she went the first time, and I think this is the way to build her back up slowly with the audience again, instead of a fast burn. They're doing it a slow burn, and this is the way to have a sympathetic start to that, or to open your eyes to her. Not sympathetic, but open your eyes to her again. So kudos to her. But like I said, it was a riptide of emotion in that match.
And can we just mention that earlier in the night, Rhea Ripley took a spear from Beth Phoenix and was selling the effects of that spear when she entered. And like throughout the match, she was still selling that. So like that makes her extra badass.
So with that, I guess she also popped out her knee, Rhea.
Shoulder.
Back in.
Oh shoot!
She said knee as well.
Well, maybe it was her knee, and it was because of Nia Jax.
And she just popped it back in herself. So let's hope there's no major injury there, because that could be obviously devastating. And then since we're talking about Liv's strong thing, I'm going to do another switch back to the men's for a second. At no point in the men's Royal Rumble, and like Triple H said last night, did Gunther just disappear. He was the focal point in that entire match. He looked super strong.
That's exactly what I was saying too. He
Again,
took maybe 2 breaks.
The Iron Man.
Like, he did not disappear like most wrestlers out of the, like, in that Rumble that are going the distance. He was focal point of that match.
And apparently WWE is ignoring the greatest Royal Rumble as canon moving forward, which I think is a good idea. So Gunther is officially the longest lasting Royal Rumble competitor, not Daniel.
False. Michael Cole made reference to it last night. He said Gunther has now passed Rey Mysterio in the traditional Royal Rumble match.
But according to, like, who was it? I think it was Sean Ross Sapp that said that Triple H is not acknowledging that as canon anymore.
Okay, good. All right. My apologies. I haven't seen.
I read it this morning.
So, quickly here, Scouts, overall on the women's.
4.
Ooh. Prince. Prince? Okay. No, overall on the women's Rumble.
My overall thoughts on the women's Rumble.
Number. What's your overall rating?
My overall rating. Out of 10, I would honestly looking at everything in there, I would give this a solid 8.
Okay. Jamie?
9.
Ooh.
Nate?
I think this was the strongest booked women's Royal match so far, and I would give it a solid 8.5.
All right. One more time. Prince?
Give it a 4.
Okay, there you go.
4?
4? Holy
Oh,
shit. You and Scouts are going to join the...
I was doing out of 5. Sorry, 8.
Oh, I was going to say, it's out of 10.
I was thinking out of 5. Now. That's my mistake.
Oh my
So, Prince,
God.
you staying at 4, Prince?
8 out of 10. Sorry.
Okay. Prince, you staying at 4?
What?
I thought it was doing 4 out of 5, so no, I'll give it a 7.
Okay.
7.5 for that.
And I'm...
7.
Listen, everybody's giving it a decent rating. Myself, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 just on storytelling.
There you go. Attaboy.
And with that, let's segue into the main event. And I'm going to start with Nate.
Okay, so I think it's safe to say that we need to split this into 2 sections, match and after match.
Yeah,
So
I think
let's
so.
talk specifically from the perspective. The running theme for this pay-per-view, as I mentioned before, was it's not even about the match. This was never about the match. This was about the the advancement of the storyline of the Bloodline with Sami Zayn, and now the sudden wild card of Jey Uso, and also using Kevin Owens as a pawn to manipulate Sami Zayn, and using Sami Zayn to manipulate Kevin Owens, so on and so forth. The match itself was exactly what you would expect out of these two guys. They know each other so well, they're never going to put on a bad match against each other. It's just not going to happen. They threw out all the stops. We saw a stunner. We saw some near falls. Kevin apparently had the match won on 2 separate occasions, but because there wasn't a ref in the ring, also I thought it was hilarious that when the ref got knocked out and he hit Roman Reigns with a stunner, and the fans were counting the pin. They got to like 6. Kevin Owens got up, looked out the ring, and saw Chad Patton on the floor. He goes, "Chad!" Super fucking funny if you didn't catch it.
Chad!
He just goes, "Chad!" Great match
Chad,
overall. I thought it was definitely a match fitting of a main event spot, especially with what came afterwards, but we will get to that. But so yeah, I loved it.
This match was fantastic from beginning, middle to end. The one thing that really, really bothered me was that second when Roman do KO on the steps the second time. I think it was the second time when he didn't cover his head. That didn't sit well.
It was the
That
first
was
time.
Oh, first time. Okay. Okay. So it was the but that right there was really bad. Seeing that and seeing how Sammy was throughout the whole thing before the match even ended. Just watching Roman tell him, "Yo, go get the chair," and then him telling Roman, "You told me not to do anything. Obviously, go do that." But Sammy is so conflicted that he obviously doesn't have it in him to be what Roman expects of him. And he was battling with that throughout that whole night. This match was one of the best matches of the night. This was top tier, fantastic for what we got. Everything through and through was so great with this match. I did not want it to end. And there was a time when I was like, all right, let's go Kevin Owens. Come on. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, no. This has been said, and I'm going to give credit where credit is due because it was said, and as I watched it myself, I did feel the same way. But it was mentioned by another podcast, and that is Straight Shoot between Santi and Mr. Tashk. That match, I mean, I'm all for like Extreme Rules match, like original Extreme Rules matches, the hardcore matches, the death matches. But for some reason, maybe because I'm so much invested in Kevin Owens as a person, like he's one of my top 3. I cringed a lot in that match, and I just couldn't let my 9-year-old and 12-year-old watch that today, even though they really wanted to. There was just too many factors to that last night for me to agree to let them watch it, because they're both young wrestling fans themselves, and
they don't need to see Kevin Owens like that. They would traumatize them.
no, and it's scary, and I'm not quite sure if it was intentionally done. I'm sure it was because Kevin's fucking wild, but I'm not quite sure if it was intentional or not, and I just didn't feel comfortable letting them watch. That match, beginning to end, it was phenomenal though. Even with the cringe in it, I understand the brutality. Just again, they made Roman. He's strong, yes, but they showed cracks again, and I think that's the perfect way to start. What's the word I'm looking for? Deconstruct him is to start showing cracks. That stunner looked so stiff it wasn't even funny. Like Roman just hit like a sack of potatoes. Like
Roman is criminally underrated as a seller.
He is,
Exactly.
and like I'm not even saying in a bad way that it looks stiff. Like he took that and it was like full on chin chin to shoulder and then down.
Oh
like,
yeah.
That it wasn't
like a literal yoink.
right. Like we're all used to Stone Cold stunners where guys fly 30 feet out of the ring for no reason. But that I think is how Stone Cold originally wanted the stunner to look, and I think he's done it on occasion. I think The Rock sold it that way too a few times.
Or real quick, how about how Austin Theory sold the Cody Cutter in the Rumble? That was fucking amazing. Yeah. But continue.
But yeah, no, the match itself is, and you're gonna hear me use this a few times in this conversation, masterclass storytelling. It was all around good. The spots were good. According to what Prince said, I feel like Sammy was really torn, and it really showed.
Yeah, as we can see your screen.
How'd that happen?
We good?
Yep.
How long was that up?
Not long.
No, I'm just kidding.
Busting out the hub, so we're good.
No,
right.
It's only Discord. It's okay.
Like, it's just crazy to me. There was a point in that match where I don't think the match was over yet. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Paul Heyman's yelling up to Roman. No, so the match wasn't over, and he's like, "Oh, Shmooly loves you, and I love you," and I think that was after it was right after the brutality. It was right after the brutality of the stairs, and like it really made you wonder, like how far is Roman willing to go in this match with Kevin, and like is Kevin willing to like say what he actually did and die for these belts, like.
Like I will say this, like when Roman threw Kevin against those steel steps, like those 2 times, I literally cringed because I know like you hit usually when your head hits the back of something like that, like you could end up with serious injuries, and I was like, yo, that's not okay.
Right. And like, no, I have nothing really much more to say other than like that was a masterpiece of a main event. So with me saying that, Phil's got some words, so let's go to Phil.
Okay. I think for me, again, it was like the match itself was yeah.
We lost you there for a second, Phil.
Sorry, because it's all working okay on my end, but like honestly, I felt like, again, you guys said it earlier, this was an amazing match nonetheless. Like Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, they know how to put on a clinic of a wrestling match. And yeah, like I said, there are some. I mean, like they put on really good matches, but yet they can put good matches on to a point where it's like, I don't even, like Shadow, like you said, I don't even know if I want my kids to watch this because they could get really traumatized because the way they do it is just so good. The way that they work together is, I don't know, it just keeps. They're just able to keep it flowing no matter what, and I don't know. Yeah, with Sammy, you could, and again, like the storytelling outside of the ring as well with Paul. It looked like Paul was I think it looked like during that match, Paul looked like he was about to freaking cry, and I'm like, yo, you gotta chill, my dog, but. And then with Sammy too. Like Sammy, you could tell was very, very conflicted, like about like everything that was going on in that match. Yeah, he was following. Yeah, he had to follow Roman's orders if he truly wanted to stay in the bloodline just for the said match. But yeah, the confliction from Sammy just just the despair from Paul Heyman to see Roman win, and then just seeing Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns really go at each other, like you know, this is like it was a first blood match or whatever. I was thoroughly entertained.
Scouts, you want to go next?
Sports entertained.
Oh man, this match had everything in it. Like, you had the near falls, which I still don't know how Roman kicked out of that near fall after he got stunnered. It was so close. I swear the ref's hand hit the mat, and we were gonna have a new champion. But the masterful storytelling that happened after this match was just amazing. The way that they threw it back to the same way that Seth Rollins.
Hey.
Match.
Jamie still has his thoughts to give before you go into post-match.
Oh.
So we're talking about actual match still.
Well, then I said what I said. Keep going. Next.
No, you guys are all good. I just want to say these guys pulled out all the stops. Highly entertaining. Highly cringy, especially on that stair bump. Hope it was protected. But it was, sometimes you see yourself not even watching the match. You're watching Sami Zayn. You're watching Paul Heyman. You're watching the stuff around you. That's what, Martin Scorsese would call cinema. And that's how this whole pay-per-view has been. It's just you're even though it's Triple H doing this, it's a Vince McMahon thing. You're watching motion pictures when you're watching WWE, and that's what's got me, tied to it, because yes, we all love wrestling, but you're tied into these stories, and these guys did pull out an amazing match with a lot of high drama situations in it, and that it ties it all together so beautifully, and this match. Definitely, it reminds me of why I fell in love with wrestling. Just throughout the whole thing. I'm not going to touch back on something you guys all talked about in this, especially being the last one to go, but it was, it's something far none, it's, you're watching a whole movie and you're starting to get to the climax of the movie is what we're seeing tonight, last night.
Yeah. All right. Scals, go ahead and start your post-match.
Let me take second.
Let me holla at you.
All right. So, because Scals started it already, we'll let him go and then Nate go. And then we'll figure out the other bit.
So, like I was saying earlier, the way that they had Sami turn on Roman the exact same way that Seth Rollins did was a nice little touch. Like, it was just symbolic. That it always seems to be the person has to hit him from behind when he's not looking in order to get their point across and to essentially stab him in the back. But not only did he stab him in the back when he did it, you saw Jey Uso's heart break with everything that happened. And he was so conflicted.
Dude shed tears.
He's like, why? Like, he just couldn't believe what was happening. Like, why? I trusted you. Like, I took you into the like, everything. And it just, like, he was so conflicted, he couldn't even attack him, that he just walked out of the ring. Like, it's just, I'm so invested in this storyline. We waited 2.5 years for the Bloodline payoff. We finally got something, and I can't wait to see what happens next.
So, yes, the Seth Rollins callback, yes, I don't even think that's necessarily a callback, too. So, like, there's a lot more to it that I think. So, like, I think aspects of that have played into the way this Bloodline character operates for Roman Reigns. Because if you remember from their feud last year when he faced Seth Rollins at the Royal Rumble, he mentioned in one of their promos.
2 years ago?
No, it was last year.
Last year was Seth. The year before was KO.
Yeah. But anyways, Roman mentioned that he never forgave Seth Rollins for tearing apart the Shield, stabbing him in the back. So, as far as bringing in this outsider who's not part of the family into the bloodline, Roman Reigns being paranoid that that guy is going to do something to stab him in the back or hurt him or hurt his family dates all the way back to Seth Rollins doing it to him in 2014. 9 years ago. That's long-term fucking storytelling, y'all. The fact that this character has developed because of something that happened 9 years ago.
Around the world.
I am talking. Thank you. I'm sorry, Phil.
You're good. You're good.
And so Jey Uso, with the absolute, crushing face, like you could see him, like his arms were down and like against his legs. He had to keep them down. Like he's like, "What are you doing, man?" He's like, "I trusted you. I stood up for you." And then he leaves. And as he's leaving, Jimmy Uso goes, "You called him a brother. I'm your brother, man." Like all this stuff is going on. Kevin Owens is just in a torture rack on the ropes watching this. MVP for that. But Jey Uso and Sami Zayn, that pop when he swung that chair was deafening. It was so fucking loud. And I think that Sami Zayn will end up getting a world title reign. I don't think it's going to be right now. I don't think they need to call an audible like they did with Daniel Bryan. But eventually, before this year is over, give him the Money in the Bank. Something like that. Give him a world title. Because he's earned it. This has been one of the... this might sound crazy, and I know you guys might even disagree with me, but that's fine. I believe this is the greatest long-term story that WWE has ever told. I do put it over Vince and Stone Cold.
I agree.
It is a lot more... It is a lot more in-depth. It is a lot more complex. There's a lot more moving parts. And Roman Reigns is in total control of his character, and he has been for 3 years now. So I don't think anything else tops this.
Fair enough. Bill, would you like to go?
Okay, so yes, the aftermath of said match, yeah, they literally handcuffed him to the rope, and pretty much, like they usually do, gave him the beats by Dre till he was nearly like passed out, till he was nearly like unconscious, and yes, Sami Zayn absolutely, completely conflicted, does not know whether to really just go with Roman and just completely obliterate this man's face. His nose smashed, cheeks broken, chin shattered, his face gone. Quote Shinsuke Nakamura. It was, man, I'm almost at a loss for words just thinking about how great this was. Like, Sammy is, in a way, he's relieved from being, almost be in a way, as much as, they've shown that he's been pretty much been a brother to Jimmy and Jay and an asset to Roman. He's also kind of been that court jester for the head of the table. Like, I've even heard somebody go as far as to say that Sami Zayn has been a walking, talking dad joke. Not my words, someone else's. I will not say who it was. But I mean, again, I think that's just something about Sami Zayn that just gets him over, though. But for him to take that chair and pretty much cause the second chair shot heard around the world, like, this is going to create probably some of the best storytelling in the next few months to come. Like, do we see Sammy facing Roman at the Elimination Chamber for the undisputed for the undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship? Maybe, maybe not. Do we wait till Mania? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, of course, a lot of people have also said that for Mania, put Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn against the Usos and make Owens and Zayn the undisputed tag team champions. But it can go. I think either way, it'll. I think right now they're gonna focus towards Sammy and the Bloodline, or in other words, man against nearly a whole army.
All right. Jamie?
I will say with this, with Kevin Owens kind of being the lamb out to slaughter in the situation, this is a way for him to be written off of TV probably for a month or so, until deep into Mania season. I think we're going to end up getting, Zayn and Reigns at the Elimination Chamber in Montreal to the big hometown crowd for Sammy. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Just this whole thing was beautiful, with the thing about it, the weird for me, you see Jay and so much emotion in there, because Roman's like, okay, beat up on Kevin Owens. Okay, and they're doing that. And then when Sammy hits Roman, his whole demeanor changes. So, it's just such a beautifully written moment. And it's going to turn out, you never know what's going to happen. They could, set up a trap, with Jey Uso. But you also know Jey Uso was also like the first Roman opponent, or one of the first Roman opponents in this Tribal Chief storyline. So they could get. I think WWE's played this out into a position where they could go so many different directions with it, and
Yeah.
they've said it so beautifully, And I just all props to Triple H. I think it's hard for me to give an opinion because I'm so invested, and it's hard for me to critique it when I'm so invested into it.
Fair. Well, not really a critiquing, it's just your thoughts, but
It's hard to, yeah.
Prince, how about you, man?
Alright, so this has been amazing right here. Everything going on, watching how Sammy was throughout the whole match, and then everything after. He's sitting back realizing throughout this whole match, 20 years of friendship. I'm going to throw all that away for Roman, someone that doesn't really appreciate me, and I've always known that he didn't really care. I just didn't want to believe it. It's finally sinking in, like, Kevin's been right this whole time. He just didn't want to see the actual truth, because he truly believed that these people saw him as family. These people, he felt that he was truly welcomed into something that originally had nothing to do with him, really. This was amazing. But 20 years of friendship with Kevin Owens, that's when the real Sammy came on and was like, alright, I gotta fix this. I gotta fix everything before I lose my best friend. Everything was being threatened and he wasn't seeing it. Now he is. This right here is perfect. This was a great time to go through all of this. Seeing how Sammy didn't want to take the chair. Reluctantly, he took it. You see him fighting back and forth like I should listen to Roman, but at the same time, this is my best friend. And It was heartbreaking. It was sad seeing how Sammy was when he saw his best friend cuffed up like that, and Jay and Jimmy going back and forth with the multiple kicks, and Roman getting in his face, yelling at him, you better hit him with the chair. And Sammy said, forget it, and did the right thing. He did the right thing by going after Roman the way he did. that was amazing. Then the one thing that broke me the most was seeing Jay, because Jay was the one that did not care for Sammy at all, and now he's like, dude, this is Sammy. We can't be doing this. It's like now the roles are reversed, where it's Jay
Yep.
in the shoes of Jimmy, and Jimmy is in the shoes of Jay. Where it's like, yeah, nah, this
Yes,
is
sir.
family. This is about family. But you guys look to Sammy as family at one point. It's so easy for you guys to take Sammy out like that. What makes you think y'all ain't gonna do that to Solo or Jimmy or even Roman for that matter? Or even Paul. That's my
But
thought.
I think that's the point, though, right? Prince is they now have you on the ropes to like, shit, he can do it to anyone, right?
Yeah.
But man, the beatdown of Kevin Owens before the cuffing, Solo with the chair around his neck, boom into the corner, like the spikes, the kicks. Oh man, it was brutal. I thought it might have been a little overkill at the fact that they handcuffed him to the rope to do all this. I thought that was a little overkill.
Yeah.
But that was all right. They got their story across, and again, it brought Sammy to the realization that, hey, Kevin's been my friend for X amount of years. I've been through the roads with him. I've traveled all over the world with him, and that was great. And the chair shot to Roman and that whole Roman's eyes just says, "Oh my God, this has happened before." Was great. And then, in a weird way, it's like Jimmy and Jay switched. Because remember, Jimmy was high on Sammy, and Jay wasn't, as they preluded in this conversation. So it was like a switch of roles there, and just watching Jay stand there, as Prince said, it was heartbreaking. Keep in mind the two men being beaten down in the middle of the ring, but it was heartbreaking. And then watching Jay just walk away. I don't know if anybody actually caught what Roman said to Solo on the ramp. I don't know. I had to go back and watch it again and try to catch it again. But he said something to him. So overall, that whole after the match thing, because you guys got to remember, Sammy wasn't even supposed to be in the bloodline this long. This was it was just successful, and obviously WWE called an audible somewhere along the way of the story. So for that to happen the way it did, it was come full circle. But now my question to everybody is, how do you just have Sammy and Kevin go after the tag belts? You can't. Right? You just can't.
Well, you have to see what's going to happen with Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Because that added another wrinkle into it now. Is Jay
and then
the bloodline?
Full respect to WWE Creative, and I doubt that, or not Creative, Audio Trucks. I doubt we're going to see it in the replays as of today, but the whole "fuck you" Roman chance is the greatest way to get him heat going into the biggest city one of the biggest cities in Canada against one of Canada's biggest imports or exports.
It was still on the replay when I watched today.
Awesome, but I'm sure like down the line.
I don't think they'll take it off because it was a premium live event.
Right.
I hope
they also caught Seth Rollins calling someone a motherfucker. I don't remember who.
That's great.
But I'm hoping they don't remove it, because I think that's the passion of the story there, of the fans just saying, "Hey Roman, we're done with you now." You know, so I think we're now, obviously the bloodline is on the quote unquote ropes, in my opinion. Yeah, they still have strength in numbers, but there's a lot to unfold here in the next few weeks. And I think Sammy does deserve, as Nate said, a title shot. Whether it be soon or later, we'll see. But he definitely deserves one for the way he's carried himself in this storyline.
Sorry. Do you think in the near future, though, like for
I think within
anything to
the
do
next
with
6
the
months we see a Sammy.
right. I'm saying like tag title situation. Do you think they're gonna
I
have
think we get a
Solo
rectification.
team up?
See, I had said this earlier to Nate privately, because I can bring in the Freebird rule technically, but Nate brought a very valid point. Solo wasn't a part of the bloodline when the Usos won the tag titles, so it's hard to argue the Freebird rule in that sense.
Right.
And so like the other thing with that is if they acknowledge, like if they acknowledge, if Solo Sikoa is allowed to tag, then that technically would mean Roman is one of the tag champs right now also.
Right.
Because he's part of the bloodline.
But another thing too, and maybe this is me reading into it a little too much. Who won the match on Raw?
Sammy
and Jay.
Mm.
Jay, if he's done with the bloodline, can argue, well, hey man, Sammy defended him with me, so he's the tag champ. We're gonna run this division.
Oh my goodness. You got something there, pal.
Have Sammy and Jay run with the Raw tag titles and have
Right. They defended the Raw tag titles. So they can technically have those.
And have Solo and Jimmy.
That's just a thought that just came to my mind during this conversation.
No,
so,
that's actually...
and I think that was that was one of the things that that was one of the things that me, you, Shadow, and Wheezy were talking about earlier. We have no fucking idea what's gonna happen, and that is the beauty of it.
Yo, Shadow.
There are a million different ways that this could go, and we have no idea which way it's going to go.
Shadow.
Yeah.
King Lime just rated us with 19 people.
Hey, thanks, Limer.
Right.
So,
right.
Unfortunately, that raid was at the the end of this, but we appreciate it, Lime. Much love, buddy. Or as Lime would say, bang. But
Bang.
So overall, guys, let's go. Overall, the Rumble, in my opinion, we're gonna go out of 10, just so Scouts is on cue here.
Thank you.
Would you rate the Rumble?
The overall show, I'm going to give it 7.25 out of 10.
Okay, Prince. What about you? The entire Rumble.
I'm giving it a 9.
All right. Phil, the entire Rumble, buddy.
The entire Rumble, I give it a solid 9 out of 10.
Wow. Okay. Jamie?
I'd have to go 8.5. Highly entertained, highly pleased.
Okay, Scal's already answered, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nate?
So, if y'all know me at all, you know the Royal Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view every single year. It's my WrestleMania, basically. I love the Royal Rumble more than any pay-per-view. So, I tend to grade it a little harsher, I guess, in my head. I think the 2 matches in the middle bogged it down quite a bit, but as far as storytelling goes, storytelling brought this whole pay-per-view up so much higher than it would have been without that storytelling. So the in-ring content was not the best by any stretch of the imagination, but the storytelling definitely made up for it. And when we look back at pro wrestling, we remember the stories more than we remember the matches. We remember the stories, we remember the moments. So, that being said, I was wildly entertained by this pay-per-view. I think it was a great way to kick off the year for pay-per-views. 8 out of 10.
All right, and with that, my rating, just because I know Scalp hates it when I do this, 9.75. No, I'm just kidding. It's a 9. I'm going to give it a 9.7. Solid 9.7 is what I'm going to give it. And that's just, like you just alluded to there, Nate, the storytelling is what sold me on this event. It had nothing to do with the matches itself. But the storytelling throughout the night, the fluidity of it, just chef's kiss in a sense. with that said, where can we find you, Phil?
Bill?
Bill.
Oh, me? Okay.
Yeah, where can we find you, buddy?
All right. Yeah. Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok under the name Phil.Future. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you again, Phil, for coming out tonight and being a part of the predictions and the review show. Jamie, where can we find you, sir?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Jamie Rose X. And I'm very thankful to be on here with you guys. Looking forward to do it again sometime.
Yeah, it was great having you on. We appreciate the coming out. Prince, where can we find you, my man?
You can find me at Arkham Prince on TikTok tearing shit up every motherfucking day. Yeah, buddy. Holla back now.
And well, I have to ask Prince before I go off to the next person here. Can we see Prince's Corner make a comeback this week?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And be prepared because even I don't know what the fucking episode is gonna be about. Yeah, buddy. It's chaos time.
Yeah, awesome. Nate, as always, where can we find you, brother?
So I will throw my TikTok handles in the chat there. Nate McNamara WB and at the Wrestle Bros. I'll also put my link tree in here real quick. The Wrestle Bros actually have a couple of cool announcements that are going to be coming up soon. I cannot tell you yet. All I can say is it involves a wrestling ring. And possibly...
I know of them. I just can't say anything.
What's that?
I said I know one thing, but I'm not allowed to say it. So.
Yes. And I can't post my link tree. Never mind.
Or spam emojis, apparently.
Damn. But yeah, it involves a wrestling ring, and it might possibly involve a wrestling legend. Also. Anyways, my link tree, if it's in the comments, you can see it. But yeah, we also just started on the Wrestle Bros. We just started a draft for the greatest faction of all time, where each team member of the Wrestle Bros is trying to build the greatest faction. Round 1 has been posted. Go check it out.
I also think, if my senses are correct, I think you have another show coming up this week, don't you? Nate?
I thought we were going to talk about that at the end, but yeah. This Thursday, coming back on Off the Top here, Thursday at 9 o'clock, we'll be going right back into the Career Retrospectives series. This week, we're going to be tackling the AEW mainstay, Jon Moxley.
Hey, look forward to that. Scals, where can we find you and your legion of followers?
You can find me on Twitch and YouTube and Twitter as well at Off the Top Media. And then also on Twitter and TikTok under Scals24.
Awesome. So for me, you guys can catch me on TikTok at thatguyshadow.91. When I'm not there, you can catch me on Shadow Realm Madness 91. Because I'm usually banned for some stupid rather reason. And you can find me on Twitter at thatguyshadow91 as well. And you can find me right here on Off the Top. We appreciate everybody for coming out.
And sticking around with us for an over 2-hour show.
Yeah, that was a long show.
Hell yeah, guys.
We had a lot to go over tonight. Not even in a bad way, too, for once, which is nice, especially after last year's mishap of a Rumble. So with that, great to be on the show and getting our season 2 underway here. 2 shows back to back within the weekend here, and now we go forward with our weekly shows and other projects that we have going for you guys, and I hope you do enjoy them. There's more content to come out throughout the season here. Not much more I could say other than thank you, loyal followers and people that just tuning in and saying what's up or popping in. It's always wonderful to have you. And I guess we can officially say we're on the road to WrestleMania, I guess.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh.
Yeah, buddy.
Before we sign off, I just want to give a big thank you to Lime for dropping in with the raid before we left. I appreciate it. And off the top right now, we do have 3 weekly shows that are consistent. We have the Thursday will be the career retrospective. This is the first time it's back in about a 2-month break. We have Friday nights with me and Cam on This Week is Wrestling. And then Saturday night is Prince's Movie Corner. So make sure to hit that follow so you can get updates on when we all have them. And on that note, I hope everybody has a great evening. Thanks for sticking around, and we'll catch you all on the flip side.
Yeah, buddy!
boys.
Yeah, buddy!
Sweet!
Woohoo! Yeah, buddy!
Yes, sir.